I have done weapons, I've done a top 10 frames, but I haven't done the top 5 best frames in Warframe to have. Now we all know how tier lists go in Warframe, everyone has their opinions, but I have tried to cover all the bases of Warframe with this top 5. And I would be interested to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get straight into it. The first frame we have is Vault. Vault is one of the starter frames and arguably one of the most versatile frames in Warframe. You need speed, Vault. Eidolons, Vault. ESO nuking, Vault. Arbitrations, Vault. I will confidently say that every single player needs a Vault. Sure, there are other frames that can do what Vault can do, but he is still very capable of doing all of these things. Trust me, get yourself a Vault Prime, you will not regret it. Wait, do you hear that? Yep. This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. However, we have a little bit of a twist, my good tenno. Raid is coming out with its very own animated series. Yep. Its very own limited series called Raid Call of the Arbiter. And oh boy, does it look pretty good. And guess what? The first episode is actually out right now, and honestly, it's actually really well done. Firstly, the animation is amazing, and I like the way that the lore behind Gaelic was unpacked, and it's also kind of gory, which is cool. And I also like how there are multiple episodes unpacking a whole bunch of lore behind different characters, and I'm excited to see some more episodes. You can watch new episodes for free in-game, and new episodes are releasing every Thursday at 10 AM EST until July 20th. This is a 10-part series bringing you more backstory, lore, and a better look into the wide world of Teleria. Fans have been asking for this for a long time, and it's finally here. Raid is also releasing lore videos and behind-the-scenes content on YouTube as well. With this new limited series, Raid is expanding further in the world of Raid like never before. This is a huge expansion. They are celebrating this by adding in Call of the Arbiter related features into the game, including new champion bios, meaning eventually all characters will have written lore specifically for that character. Champions like Gaelic, Athel, Kale, and Alhain, ranging to even Death Knight the poster boy. Everyone will get a chance to get Artak, one of the 5 new characters from the show, as a playable legendary champion for free. All you need to do is log into Raid Shadow Legends for 7 days between now and July 24th, so you have time. Don't wait till the last minute, my good tenno. And if you haven't played Raid yet, there is no better time to start now. Use the link in my description or scan my QR code on the screen. We are talking a free epic champion, knight errant, and other rewards that are quite frankly required. And once you're in, crushing your enemy's thick skulls, come find me under the name Flow was taken. Again, I will find you. I have not forgotten about you. And if you're fast enough, you can join my clan. So just smack that link in the description and I'll see you on the battlefield enjoying the massive new content Raid is bringing. The first build is the good old speed build. If you don't have Titania for whatever reason, then Vault can do a speed build, but obviously not as good as Titania, but he can do a speed build quite comfortably. This is a end-ish game build. It should suffice for base steel path missions. Just make sure to use your shield and speed everywhere with a strong weapon. You can subsume infested mobility or eclipse onto your 4th or your 1st ability if you so desire. If you are a newer player, obviously you will not have the prime mods, so go for sprint speed mods, and whatever you have available, drop blind rage and go for more efficiency because energy sustain will be a struggle with this build. Replace blind rage with efficiency if you don't have arcane energize, and I don't have it here because of my polarities, but put speed drift in your Exodus slot. Arcanes or whatever you desire. Moving on to the second setup, which is Eidolons. This is my current Eidolon setup that I'm currently running at the moment. It's very expensive. It's triple Umbra Former because why not? You can get away with 2 Umbra Former though, but make sure to use Arcane Nullifier, Bolt Augment, and Arcane Guardian so you don't die a lot. Here is the budget version of this as well. And then we have Arbitrations. We have 2. One with Thermal Sunder, subsumed for the huge amounts of damage buffing from Thermal Transfer, Augment, and Shock Trooper. And then we have Energized Munitions. We then move on to the last build, which is for ESO nuking. Fairly straightforward. Make sure to have dispensary subsumed onto your 1st ability and stack a whole bunch of range and strength. That's Vault. One of the most important frames to have in Warframe, just like you smashing that like button and helping me with the algorithm, and is very capable of doing a lot of things in Warframe. The only thing about Vault is he doesn't scale so well with Steel Path and can be quite squishy in some cases, and the way to combat that is to run Capacitance Augment and use your 4th ability to shield gate, but even then he's still sometimes squishy. Moving on to Wisp. Now we all know why people play Wisp, for the assets that Wisp provides, and she's honestly the best support in Warframe. We all know this, right? Even though I don't play Wisp that much, I will say that she is a must-have in Warframe. When it comes to supporting, she can tank, give you insane healing, speed, and CC as well. First build is Pillage Wisp. we have Equilibrium for the energy sustain, and just flat strength, which gives us about 79% armor reduction plus corrosive projection equals full strip off of one cast. The next one is Arbitrations, flat strength, molt augmented plus molt vigor for that extra strength boost when casting raw. Be warned though, your energy sustain is really bad here, so if you really need to, then drop power drift and go for some efficiency. Raw Wisp is pretty much the exact same, except we go flow for more energy sustain. Wisp is the ultimate support, you just can't go wrong with her. She covers everything support related in Warframe. I don't need to say more about her, she's brilliant, get her. Moving on to the one and only Khora. Now Khora covers everything farming related, she is the go-to farming. She's also really good for defending missions and defending anything with objectives. But her main attraction is getting more loot because of her augment, Pilfering Strangledome, and then her fourth ability which traps enemies and drops more loot. This is Khora, and just whipping the shit out of your enemies. For the Khora builds, we have 4. Just your normal farming build with Khora's 2 augments, Accumulating Whipclaw and Pilfering Strangledome for the huge loot drops. This is a budget-ish build if you don't have any of these subsumes. For the end game endo farm build, I have a setup like this where you want minimum range. I have made a video on this if you're a bit confused. It is the best endo farming method in Warframe. I have made a video explaining everything on how to do this. And then we have the Spectro Siphon Khora, which you subsume over Spectro Siphon over a third, which is Khora subsume, and use the augment to literally have infinite energy. However, you can go one better and do Varuna's subsume, which is Lycarth's Hunt, which in my opinion is a little bit better because you can drop Spectre Siphon augment and replace it with Equilibrium and basically infinitely sustain your health orb drops and use Equilibrium. You just never run out of energy. Lycarth's Hunt is definitely a lot better than Spectre Siphon. And that's Khora, a must-have frame. Really good for those of you who are working towards Steel Path or in Steel Path. Now remember what I say, I show end game builds but substitute what you have available until you work towards these setups and you get all the right mods. But wait, my good Tenno, I need to explain something first. Khora's first ability, the Whip, uses a stat stick, meaning that whatever stats you have on your melee will affect your first ability as Khora. So I'm using a Ripkers here for this example, not the best one, I will be honest, but it's all I have available. All you need to do is find a good weapon with high Riven disposition, get a Riven for that weapon, get melee damage on the Riven, crit damage, crit chance, and maybe combo count. Stack melee damage, blood rush, gladiator might, weeping wounds, crit chance, and crit damage, and then slap on a slash mod so it increases the slash weighting, meaning it applies more slash procs, and GG, you have big PP damage. Now it is important for those of you that are new to the game and have no idea what I'm talking about, and I'm going to make a guide on each of these frames thoroughly explaining all of them, so stay tuned for that. Moving on to the 4th frame, which is Revi Boy, the undying frame that I totally don't die with. I'm just incompetent, okay? Anyway, Revenant is really strong, basically undying. The only thing that can kill him is Toxin. Toxin, our favorite debuff against Warframes. Revenant has Mesmer charges, which like I said basically makes him immortal. Every time a charge is broken, you go immortal for a couple seconds, stunning the enemy and so on. Keep these charges up, keep recasting it, and you will not die. Unless you're like me who doesn't keep an eye out on them and forgets to recast your ability because you barely play Revenant. I'm not making excuses, I promise. Rev also creates his little army around him and zooms around and kills everything. Subsume over Revenant's 4th ability and he can go to level cap comfortably. The builds we go for are as follows. One with either Zarta's Whisper or Roar, both of these scale to level cap, it's nothing crazy. Equilibrium for energy sustain, or you could just swap out for Streamline for more efficiency if you don't have Arcane Energize. And then we use Mesmer Shield, support your allies. This is a really good augment and a must have. Please use this augment, it's really OP. It keeps all your allies alive. Arcanes are flexible. If you want a meme spin to win build, then you can go this one over here. It doesn't really scale well in Steel Path, but it's still fun for Star Chart. Overall, Revenant is the best tank in Warframe. It's Warframe on easy mode. If you play Revi Boy, I literally don't need to say more about him. If you enjoy not dying, then play Revenant. He is the best at tanking. He does the job the best. Moving on to the last frame. And that is Ashe. Now I know what you're thinking. Octavia, brother. Yeah, I agree. Octavia would be here, and in fact I'll even put the builds up that I use for her. But here is the thing, Octavia is so goddamn boring to play, and I think we can all agree on that. She's really boring to play, but there is no doubt, no debate that Octavia is the strongest frame in Warframe. That is just pure facts. You can't argue that. However, I put Ashe here because Ashe is slightly more fun to play in my opinion, and also scales quite nicely with slash weapons and does level cap like it's nothing. Ashe is really good for armor stripping, taking down tanky targets because of seeking shuriken for the armor stripping. Ashe is passive for the extra slash damage. That's of course if you want to do a damage over time build. And then of course Ashe is invisible, so that's stealth. These builds are as follows. First one is for slash builds using expedite suffering. Although you do need some casting speed on this build from Archon shards, otherwise the slash procs will proc before you even cast the ability because it has a really slow casting speed, so get some casting speed on there. Then we have your raw or Zarta's Whisper build for Ashe, which I always use for level cap. I mainly use Zarta's Whisper here, but it's the same build, just different subsumes. You can also use Eclipse as well, which is this build over here. It works quite well. Overall, I enjoy playing Ashe for level cap and doing big slash proc damage, and he's amazing to play because of his invisibility and armor stripping. Otherwise, just play Octavia. Let's be honest. Octavia can do every single thing in Warframe. Yeah. Now, to wrap up this video, we have Volt that covers speed, Eidolon, Arby's, and Isunuki, and even Prophet Taker speed running as well. We have Wisp that covers support. We have Khora that covers looting and farming, and we have Revenant that covers tanks, and then finally we have Ashe that covers stealth. That's pretty much everything you need to Warframe. Now this is a top 5, and it's really hard to put the top 5 frames in Warframe. If I had to mention a few, I would say Mesa, Saren, Protea, Baruch, and Gauss, and a few more. These are all amazing frames, but if I had to look at it like this, if you only had 5 Warframes to Warframe, what would it be? Now I would say these are the top 5 frames for the jobs, for everything that Warframe has to offer you. Anyways, that's the video guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.